A girl named Gaddies was shown exhausted in her bed. She gets a knock on the door to find her friend Dewey outside. They both have a conversation in which Gaddies tells Dewey that they don't believe her that she is being attacked, and that's the reason for her being distant from friends. She later exposes the bruises. Dewey tells her it's tough to believe as the person Gaddies blaming is dead. Later that night, Dewey gets a call and answers the call from living room. There she sees the windows opened and water dropping from faucet. She closes it all and sees a bunch of articles regarding Lesmana, Alfie, Nara and their childhood photos in the table. While she was viewing these, a howling sound comes off the windows and the scene ends there. Next day morning, Gaddies comes out to find Dewey on top of the ceiling placed inside a curse-drawn circle and cries hysterically. Elsewhere, Alfie and Nara are shown entering their apartment where Alfie still has the scars which was caused by previous incident they faced. Nara has her brother's photo in hand, to which Alfie expresses that she too misses him but they have to move on. They both then go to bed where a ghost scares Alfie. Next morning, Alfie wakes up to a sound and goes to check where she and Nara gets kidnapped by a group of friends. Later, they take her to an abandoned orphanage called Bathera. Inside the building, Alfie wakes up and three of them enter the room and introduce themselves as Leo, Beauty and Jennar. They then tell Alfie about the history of that orphanage, that a childless couple, Ayub and his wife, opened up the place, and they tortured the kids who joined in the place. She later reveals that she was one of the 7 kids who were the cause of the death of the couple which closed the orphanage, but the scars hasn't gone. Later, Alfie comes out of the room where a door opens to a doll standing in the stair. Inside the room, Alfie checks around where a ghost was shown behind. While she was to leave, the ghost runs towards her from the stair and scares her. She then enters the hall to see Nara and other friends of the group. Jennar then introduces Gaddies, Marta and Christy to Alfie. Jennar then asks help from Alfie as they believe that Ayub came back for revenge and he was the cause of the death of Dewey. While they were having conversation, an argument arose between Christy and Gaddies, which leads to Jennar asking Christy to leave if she doesn't believe Gaddies, who told them about Dewey's death. Later, they ask Alfie for help to find the reason for Ayub's existence and send him back to hell and give her a witchcraft Bible, which he used. While viewing the Bible, Alfie runs outside and throws up, and Beauty follows Alfie to help her, where he tells her when he was a child a woman came to orphanage and gave him the Bible. Later, he also tells her that Marta has researched the Bible and found out that Dewey's death was a beginning and they all are bounded by a curse. Later, they all enter a room where they see a dungeon room. Alfie asks Christy to take care of Nara as she refuses to enter the room. Inside the dungeon, Marta and others sit together and tell Alfie about the devil Moloch which takes souls. They think that Ayub planned to sacrifice them all to the demon. They then ask Alfie to lift the curse as a survivor of devil attack only can lift it. Alfie then slashes her finger and puts her blood print in the Bible, which causes her to view the past, how Ayub was killed by them all. Suddenly, a freezing cold prevails inside the dungeon. On the living room, Nara shows Christy and light scattering from the walkie-talkie they use. Inside the dungeon, Leo calls for Christy, where a voice responds back as she belongs to Demon. All the furnitures inside the room starts to fly towards them to attack. Suddenly, a rotatory blade scares them all. Later, Alfie sees Ayub on the top of ceiling, who later chokes Jennar and hits her face to the floor and kills her. While in the living room, Nara hears screaming from the dungeon and tells to Christy. Christy opens the door to it, where Devil runs towards her from the room and possesses her. Possessed Christy then closes the door while they all were trying to get out from the dungeon and starts to chase Nara. Nara enters inside a room near and closes the door. Christy then breaks the door and enters inside and get hit by a table, which gives Nara some time to enter into another room. Christy then uses her head and legs to break the door and enters inside. Inside the room, she looks around and sees Nara on top of a dressing cupboard and grabs her throat, where Nara pushes her, which makes the dressing board fall on top of her. Even after the fall, she wasn't dead. She breaks through and comes out, where Alfie comes to rescue and hits her with an iron rod to kill her. They then cover her body and put it inside a freezer. Later, a fight erupts in the living room, where Alfie tells Martha that what she researched was wrong and tells them she is leaving with Nara. They both then get in the car with Beauty, telling them he will drop them at a nearest railway station. Beauty later finds the car was damaged. While in the car, a ghost scares Alfie, to which causes her to be unconscious. She later dreams where she searches for Nara and others, where she sees the doll which she saw in the stair again at the same place where Alfie tries to approach it. The doll runs and falls. Suddenly, a ghost appears and starts to chase her, and while on the run, she sees her dad Lesmana, where he tells her he tried to stop him and that the one wants her soul. Suddenly, Ayub appears behind her and grabs her hand. She later wakes up and tells Beauty about the past and the dream she had and shows the wound. Beauty then tends her wound, and later they have a talk in which he tells her about others and their life, where he asks Alfie how the car might be destroyed. She tells him it's impossible for demons to do it and sees a photo frame and doubts about Gaddies and asks for the Bible. Marta and Leo bring the Bible inside the room, and later they find out that Gaddies wasn't there, so Leo goes to look for her. On the other hand, Alfie finds out that Gaddies was the one helping Ayub as she sees a blood print in the Bible while she also saw a bandage in her finger. She then takes the photo frame and removes the photo and sees Ayub and Gaddies holding hands and confirms that they have some form of relationship. While Leo was looking for Gaddies, he walks towards the hallway to the room where Dungeon was. While he was walking through, Gaddies was hiding behind a door. Inside the room, he sees something was written in the dungeon door while viewing it. Gaddies suddenly appears behind Leo, pushing him down and closes the door. Inside the room, Leo sees a kid standing near. He walks to the who happens to be himself in the childhood and scares him. Exhausted because of fear, he sits down near a table and tries to contact Beauty. While he was trying, the body of Christy gets out from the box they had placed it before. Suddenly, it appears near Leo and scares the hell out of him and disappears. Leo looks around to nothing and falls down to the floor sobbing. However, a hand appears from Dungeon, which was Ayub, kills him by tearing his face up and pulls his body inside. In the next scene, Alfie finds out that the spell they used in the dungeon was to arise Ayub from dead and asks about that from Marta. She got angry regarding the whole ordeal and tries to walk out, but the door was closed. While they were trying to open the door, a voice tells from their walkie-talkie that Leo was dead. Gaddies was shown where Ayub uses her body and has bonding with her. Later, Beauty and Alfie breaks the door and get out of the room to find Gaddies in the stair, where she reveals that she was the one who summoned Ayub to kill Dewey. Learning all this, Beauty gets angry and tries to burn the Bible, but Gaddies stops him using a spell and breaks his hand, tossing to both walls, causing him to go unconscious. At that instant, Alfie fights with Gaddies, where Gaddies throws unconscious Beauty towards Alfie and gets up. She then walks towards Marta and tries manipulating her using Past, where Marta decides to use a knife to stab Gaddies, but Gaddies evades and stabs Marta with the same knife. She later threw her towards Alfie, while so Marta pulled the Bible from her. Alfie then pulls Martha inside the room. Gaddies then lights fire to the whole room using a paraffin lamp and closes the door. Marta, while on the dead bed, asks Alfie to use symbols in Bible to read and fight back against Ayub and Gaddies. On the other hand, Nara was running from Gaddies, where Gaddies finds Nara, but she escapes using a taser. While she was to walk out, Gaddies wakes up. Alfie uses a spell from the Bible using her blood print to control objects and escapes from fire by throwing a desk, which turns her hand demonic because of the spell. She then wakes Beauty and brings him outside the orphanage and goes back inside to get Nara. Inside, she sees Ayub and his wife watching TV, in which Nara appears in it. She then walks towards Dungeon and goes inside to see rooms there. While she walks through first room, she sees Leo face torn and runs from there. In the next room, she sees two girls playing, who then turns into ghost and scare Alfie. She then walks to another room where she sees Marta body and covers her with the sheets. On the legs of the bed, she sees Nara. They both then walk out to see Martha body following them, which later changes to Ayub. Alfie uses a spell which changes Ayub to change into Gaddies. She then attacks Alfie and throws up blood all over Alfie's face. The ghost then throws Alfie, where Nara comes to aid. There a fight starts where Alfie uses the rotary blade which first attacked Jennar to kill Gaddies. Even after all the encounter, Gaddies wasn't dead. She follows Alfie where they all get out of the fire-broken orphanage. Beauty uses a car and drives over Gaddies. Ayub get reborn by tearing Gaddies' body. He then runs towards Alfie where he possesses her. But Alfie tries to end herself by stabbing the knife through her heart. After stabbing herself, in the hell, Moloch appears and tells her that her soul belonged to him the moment she was born and that she can't kill herself. He later gives her life back, warning he will come to claim her soul. In the end, Alfie, Nara and Beauty drive from there with the Bible with them. Hit the like and subscribe button.